The NBA trade deadline is approaching, so let's take a look at some player trades that no one expected. Deals driven by opportunity or necessity have unfolded in recent years. Therefore, we've compiled a list of the most noteworthy ones from just the last decade. Check it out. Before making a name for himself with the Memphis Grizzlies, Marc Gasol was merely the younger brother of Paul Gasol. However, Marc proved to be a spectacular defender throughout his career while also demonstrating offensive prowess. Interestingly, he initially joined the NBA with the Grizzlies because his rights were traded to the team from the Los Angeles Lakers in a deal involving Paul. In 2008, the Lakers aimed to contend for the title, and although they had a solid campaign, they needed impactful player trades after the trade deadline. That's when Marc, a second-round pick in the 2007 draft, became part of the negotiations. He was still playing in Europe when it happened, making his debut for the Grizzlies in the 2008-09 season. Initially, there was criticism of the trade, as the Lakers received a player who played a key role in winning 2 titles alongside Kobe Bryant. However, the trade started to balance out in the subsequent years. Marc Gasol progressed to the point of earning 3 All-Star Game selections, 2 All-NBA nods, and winning the Defensive Player of the Year award in 2012-13. In 2019, it was the Toronto Raptors' turn to emulate the Lakers of 2008. The team traded Jonas Valanciunas, C.J. Miles, Delon Wright, and a second-round pick for Gasol. Consequently, the Raptors clinched the title that season alongside Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka, Fred VanVleet, and OG Anunoby. The center played one more season in Toronto and then signed with the Lakers for 1 year. He concluded his NBA career after the 2020-21 season, spanning 13 campaigns. Another foreign center, Nikola Vucevic, was the cornerstone for the Orlando Magic until the Chicago Bulls pursued trades at the 2021 trade deadline and successfully acquired him. Traded for Wendell Carter, Otto Porter, and 2 first-round picks. In the 2021-22 season, the Bulls started as a major surprise, holding the top spot in the Eastern Conference. However, the injury to Lonzo Ball affected the team's performance, leading to a playoff appearance, but with limited strength. Since then, Chicago has been trying to find ways to return to the top of the conference, while Ball remains sidelined. On the other hand, Vucevic was a free agent at the end of the last season, but the front office believed in their contention chances and extended his contract until 2025-26. However, the strategy has not yet yielded success, and Chicago currently holds the 9th spot in the Eastern Conference. Guard Isaiah Thomas had been with the Phoenix Suns since the beginning of the 2014-15 season, but the Arizona team was unsure of how to utilize him effectively. The Suns were not competitive, while Thomas excelled coming off the bench. Therefore, at that trade deadline, the front office accepted an offer from the Boston Celtics for the player. In a 3-team trade, also involving the Detroit Pistons, Thomas joined the Celtics alongside Jonas Valanciunas and Gigi Datone. On the other hand, the Suns received Marcus Thornton and a 2016 draft pick, while the Pistons got Tayshaun Prince back. Thomas didn't immediately explode onto the scene and finished that season on the bench. However, in the 2015-16 season, the situation changed. He became a starter and showcased his capabilities. Consequently, he earned his first All-Star Game appearance, averaging 22.2 points and 6.2 assists. But he performed even better in the following campaign, reaching 28.9 points. Nevertheless, the Celtics management had its eyes on Kyrie Irving, who could lead the Cleveland Cavaliers after the 2016-17 season. Without extending his contract, the Celtics traded him to the Cavs in exchange for Irving. However, Thomas had a hip injury, and the Celtics front office was concerned that giving him a maximum contract might worsen the injury. Before the trade was finalized, the Cavaliers identified the issue, and the deal was on the verge of collapsing. So Boston sent another second-round pick, and Cleveland accepted. Yet, Thomas couldn't play at the same level and never returned to even close to his previous production. He missed out on the maximum extension he sought from the Celtics and couldn't secure it with the Cavaliers. Later, the player was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, still in the final year of his contract. Thomas had a few more chances to prove he no longer had the issue, but in vain. Without impressive performances, he was waived by each of the next 5 teams. He is still vying for a spot in the NBA, but he hasn't played in the league since 2021/22 and is unlikely to get another opportunity. As we've seen above, some player trades at the trade deadline result in stronger teams in the title race. These are business opportunities. And here is no different. The Denver Nuggets traded R.J. Hampton, Gary Harris, and a draft pick for Aaron Gordon and Gary Clark. While playing for the Orlando Magic, Gordon was always an above-average player, a spectacular defender who faced pressure to become a scorer there. Despite his scoring ability, his focus was always on contributing to the team in other areas. So, when the Magic's front office finally understood this, his defense improved even more. Suddenly, Gordon was constantly rumored to be traded to teams with title chances. The Golden State Warriors, for example, were keen on acquiring the player. But in March 2021, the Nuggets won the battle and secured the player. The result came quickly. In the 2022/23 season, Denver clinched its first NBA title with Gordon on the roster, and of course being used in the right way. Alongside Shaquille O'Neal and James Harden, Kevin Durant is one of the most impactful players who has been traded near the trade deadline in recent decades. Although Shaq was no longer the same in February 2008, the impact was enormous, and he was leaving the Miami Heat to play for the Phoenix Suns. 15 years later, the Suns made another similar move by acquiring Durant. But time brought many changes. While Shaq was a veteran at the age of 35 and nearing the end of his career, Durant, at nearly the same age, 34 at the trade, seems far from that. In fact, the forward had a serious injury in his career but returned to the court at the same pace. That's the difference. Kevin Durant remains in great physical shape and is striving for his 3rd title in his career with the same Suns. He arrived in a trade involving not only the Brooklyn Nets and the Suns, but also the Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks. It included 9 players and 10 draft picks. It's considered one of the fairest player swaps at the NBA trade deadline. While the Sacramento Kings received the center Domantas Sabonis, the Indiana Pacers acquired Tyrese Haliburton and Buddy Hield. Of course, there were more players involved in the trade, like Tristan Thompson in Indiana and Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, along with a 2nd-round draft pick for the Kings. But the fact is that both teams gained a lot in the trade. The Pacers now have Haliburton, one of the best point guards in the NBA currently, while the Kings return to the playoffs with Sabonis' arrival after more than a decade. Haliburton is a point guard who makes few offensive mistakes, shoots very well, and defends just as effectively. This is not to mention his ability to read the game and find open teammates. On the other hand, Sabonis leads the NBA in triple-doubles alongside Nikola Jokic, 12 in 2023/24. It was a challenging trade to make, but it happened. James Harden was discontent with the Houston Rockets management, disapproved of the signings, and felt that he wouldn't contend for the title there. So he requested a trade. However, the Rockets made it difficult for him. What did he do? He tried everything. First, he didn't mind gaining many pounds. Then, he created such a toxic environment in the locker room that the management put an end to it and sent him to the Brooklyn Nets. Upon arriving at the Nets, who had a roster with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, everything seemed clear. The team would contend for the title. But as everything needs some drama, Durant, Irving, and Harden rarely played together before the playoffs. Injuries on one side, on the other, but they were almost never together. Against the Milwaukee Bucks in the conference semifinals, everything went wrong when the current Los Angeles Clippers point guard suffered a thigh injury. Later, Durant stepped on the line during the decisive shot, and the Bucks advanced to the Eastern Finals against the Atlanta Hawks, then defeated the Suns in the NBA Finals. So, the following season was chaotic. Irving refused to comply with the league's health protocols. Durant and Harden took turns with injuries, and gradually, the team fell apart. They left one by one, but Harden was the first, heading to the Philadelphia 76ers. Meanwhile, Ben Simmons, a crucial part of that trade, played only 48 games for the Nets up to this point. And that wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider subscribing down below and hit the notification bell to receive all the videos firsthand. Giving it a thumbs up strengthens the chance of this video reaching more basketball enthusiasts. Leave your comments down below about the era of these 3 Oklahoma players, and I'll see you in the next video. My social media links are in the description. So until next time, take care and goodbye.